Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to create a bowl with this flower mold here, and I will combine this with this large wild water mold from Molds and Shapes. But the first step is to pour this flower here, and I already prepared my resin for this. You can see it here. For the orange color, I used alcohol ink, the Octopus alcohol ink, lemon and strawberry. I used a few drops and mixed it and to get this orange color, because for the wild water mold I'm going to use the Wildfire Super Shift, which also has some kind of orange in it, so I thought this could be a nice combination. You see, very simple, super easy, just pouring the flour and then waiting 24 hours. A little bit of alcohol here, is isopropanol to remove the air bubbles, and now we have to wait. It is the next day and it's time to demold the flour. You see everything cured very well. You see I poured it very thick. To have enough space to first pour a clear layer, then adding the flour, and then pouring another layer with an orange color. So you see it's transparent, and the idea is to have a bowl with a transparent center, which will be the flour, and around the flour will be the Super Shift pigment. This is, as I mentioned before, the white water mold from Molds and Shapes, and I will add the flour to this one here as a centerpiece. You see, I jumped to the next step. I already prepared my Depon DCS resin, which will be the first layer, and to this layer I will add the poured resin flour as a centerpiece. And then we have to wait for 24 hours for the next step, because then the Wildfire Super Shift pigment will be used. I will coat the surface of my orange flower here with a little bit of the DCS resin, because this will help to avoid air bubbles. If you put a dry piece, for example resin or plastic, or even if you're going to use stickers or whatever, or flowers, especially flowers, if you don't coat them or add some resin to them, then very likely you will get some air bubbles under your piece. So it's much easier to coat the piece and then add it to your resin in your mold. I have to move the piece a little bit because there are a few air bubbles, and I want to remove them with fire here, and alcohol will also help. So that you see on the left side the isopropanol flask. So yeah, it's sometimes not that easy to remove all the air bubbles, especially with the wild water mold, because the surface is so uneven. It took a little bit of time, so I jumped to the final part here, and now we have to wait 24 hours for our next step. It's the next day, and you see I coated my flower with some of the DCS resin, because I touched it with my resin fingers and there were fingerprints all over the flower, so I decided to add some of the DCS resin to have a nice surface here. And the next step is my Wildfire Super Shift pigment. I will paint my surface with this pigment here, with this color shift pigment. First I'm going to use this brush, but with this brush, I don't know, it doesn't stay very well on the surface, so I switched to an eyeshadow applicator, and this was much better. And now I am going to show you the final result after painting the surface. It's not so easy to show you the color shift effect, but it is a shift from gold brown to orange to pink. In the meantime, I mix up my resin for the next step, and I added some of the cinnamon pearl mica powder to it. You see it's a very nice orange-red color, and I will pour it around my centerpiece, and as a last step, which I will skip here, I will pour a clear layer, and that's it, and then it's time for demolding. Some fire here to remove the air bubbles, and then we have to wait 24 hours, and I will show you the final result now. It is the next day, it's time for demolding. You see the final layer, the clay layer, cured very well. And now let's check the result. I never did this before with this clear centerpiece, so it's some kind of experiment. And especially with the wild water mold, I see it worked very well. So we have a clear center here. And the color shift around the center. But I'm not sure if I really like the result because the surface is so uneven, and it's hard to see the color shift, especially in the camera, with the camera here. But I think it's a very special piece, and I will create a bowl with this and will show you the final result in a few seconds at the end. Thank you very much for watching, and let me know how you like the bowl. Bye bye.